Steelers Nation, attention! Something is shifting in Pittsburgh, and even though it started quietly, it could change everything from here on out. A move that seemed subtle at first, almost unnoticed, but carries a massive impact at the heart of this defense. And if you followed this team long enough, you know, sometimes, the biggest revolutions happen in silence. The front office acted with precision, strategy, and boldness. A move that doesn't crush the salary cap, doesn't mortgage the future, but could completely reshape how this defense plays in the coming weeks. Smart, calculated, and crystal clear, Pittsburgh isn't here to wait. They're here to respond. And that's exactly what we want to see: attitude, presence, and real adjustments on the field. But now I want to hear from you, the fans. What do you think about this move? Was this the missing piece? Or is there still more to come in this defensive reset? So go ahead and smash that like button, because it really helps the channel grow and reach more members of Steelers Nation. And of course, drop your comment down below. I want to see Pittsburgh fans lighting up that comment section. Now, take a deep breath, because what's coming next might just be the turning point this season's been waiting for. Go Steelers! The Kyle Duggar move might have looked like a quiet trade at first glance, but when you start breaking it down, it's the kind of under-the-radar addition that could completely reshape how Pittsburgh plays defense over the next few months. The Steelers sent a late-round pick swap to the Patriots and got Duggar plus a future 7th in return, but the real win is what came out afterward. New England is paying most of the remaining $5.4 million of his base salary. That means Pittsburgh essentially just got a proven, hard-hitting box safety for pocket change. No long-term commitment, no future cap strain, just a one-year rental to patch one of the defense's biggest holes. And that's exactly what this defense needed, because if we're being honest, Deshaun Elliott's absence has left a noticeable gap in run support and physical presence near the line of scrimmage. Duggar fills that role instantly. He's a physical downhill tackler, a guy who's not afraid to shed blocks and stick his nose into the pile. Think of him as a more explosive version of what Terrell Edmonds used to bring to the table. Same energy, but maybe a little more edge in run defense. The question now isn't whether Duggar can help. It's how fast he can get up to speed. He's stepping into a defense that's notoriously complex, full of checks, rotations, and disguised coverages that demand sharp communication. Remember, when Jabril Peppers arrived earlier in the season, they waited 2 weeks before throwing him into live action. There's a chance they do the same here, and honestly, that might be the smartest play, especially this week, facing the Colts tight end Tyler Warren, who's quickly emerging as one of the league's better red zone mismatches. You don't want Duggar, a player still learning the terminology, locked one-on-one with Warren on an island in man coverage. The guy's tough and smart, but he's not the fastest or most fluid athlete when it comes to change of direction after that ankle injury last year. The better move might be what some inside the organization are already hinting at. Use Jalen Ramsey as that hybrid strong safety in this matchup. Let him handle Warren. He's got the size, length, and veteran savvy to neutralize tight ends, even if his top-end speed isn't what it used to be. Slide Peppers into the free safety role. Keep Duggar in reserve while he ramps up, and suddenly the matchups start making sense again. And then there's the other sneaky pickup, Derek Forrest. Now this one barely made headlines, but it deserves more attention. Forrest was a starting free safety in Washington not too long ago, a former mid-round pick out of Cincinnati who flashed legitimate playmaking ability in 2022 before injuries derailed him. For interceptions, 9 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, the guy was everywhere. He's only 26 and ran a 4.41 40 at over 200 pounds. That's real range, real closing speed, and exactly the kind of athletic profile Pittsburgh has been missing on the back end. If he's healthy, this could turn out to be one of the best low-cost defensive signings of the year. Compare that to what we've seen from Chuck Clark and Juan Thornhill lately: slow reactions, busted coverages, and too many business decisions in open space. That second half against Green Bay was brutal. They simply couldn't keep up, and it's no coincidence that both were on the field for multiple breakdowns. When a veteran secondary looks that disjointed, it's usually a sign the legs are going, and the Steelers clearly saw it, because 2 safety additions in 24 hours doesn't happen by accident. Forrest gives them flexibility. He can play deep, he can rotate down, and if he regains his 2022 form, he could absolutely climb onto the 53-man roster sooner than later. If that happens, someone's getting cut, and that's the reality of this business. Between Clark and Thornhill, the leash is short, maybe a matter of weeks. If you're asking me, Clark's probably the odd man out first. Thornhill at least offers serviceable depth, but when Elliott returns, his roster spot will be hanging by a thread too. And that brings us back to the bigger issue looming over this defense: coaching and accountability. Mike Tomlin took the podium on Tuesday and downplayed the need for major changes. He praised Terrell Austin, said the issues were mostly about details, and insisted they just need to keep doing what we're doing and do it better. That might sound steady and composed to some fans, but to a lot of people inside this fan base, it's starting to sound like denial. This defense isn't just missing details, it's missing answers. Opposing quarterbacks have been dicing them up underneath all season, taking advantage of the soft zones and blitz-heavy man looks that leave the middle of the field wide open. Teams aren't getting the ball out fast just because of TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. They're doing it because Pittsburgh's scheme gives them free completions underneath every single drive. And when Tomlin waves it off as nothing new, it sends a message that maybe the urgency isn't there. So the real question now becomes, will the Duggar and Forrest moves be enough to fix deeper schematic problems? Or are the Steelers just rearranging pieces while the system itself stays the same? Because at some point, adding more safeties won't matter if the philosophy doesn't evolve with the talent. Because if we're honest, the issues go deeper than personnel. You can trade for a hard-hitting box safety like Kyle Duggar and sign a promising young free safety like Derek Forrest, but if the scheme continues to hang players out to dry, Pittsburgh will keep getting carved up in the middle of the field. The Steelers' pass rush has been neutralized not because Watt and Highsmith suddenly forgot how to rush, but because quarterbacks know exactly where the soft spots are. Quick slants, hitches, tight end crossers, everything underneath is open by design when you bring 5 and drop 6 into deep shells. It's predictable. That's why Tomlin's comments about no dramatic changes hit the fan base like a cold splash of water. When your defense allows 360 passing yards to Jordan Love and 20 straight completions, it's not about small details anymore, it's about structural flaws. The Steelers have been blitzing at one of the highest rates in football, but without disguising coverage or varying the leverage underneath. Offenses are treating those blitzes like open invitations to throw quick. Every team has figured it out. If you survive the first second and a half, you're fine. That's not a recipe for championship defense. Now, here's where Duggar could really change things. If the staff uses him correctly, his value isn't just in his physicality, it's in the options he gives you. Duggar can play as a hybrid linebacker and dime looks, letting you disguise fronts and keep an extra defensive back on the field without losing toughness against the run. Imagine a package with Watt, Highsmith, Queen, and Duggar near the line, Ramsey hovering over the slot, and Peppers deep. Suddenly, you can blitz or drop from anywhere. That's the kind of creativity Pittsburgh needs to rediscover if this defense wants to be feared again. And speaking of rediscovering, Darius Slay's situation has quietly become one of the biggest stories inside the locker room. The veteran corner's play has fallen off, and the tape doesn't lie. Missed tackles, slow transitions, and far too many business decisions when the ball's in front of him. Mike Tomlin can defend his veterans all he wants, but everyone sees the same thing. Slay's not the same player. If he doesn't show real improvement soon, Corey Trice Jr. could be the one to take his job once his 21-day window closes. Trice is long, physical, and aggressive, exactly the attitude this secondary has been missing. And don't sleep on Brandon Echols either. He's been quietly solid in the slot, and if the staff wants to make a statement about accountability, giving younger, hungrier players more snaps might be the spark this defense needs. That's the tone the locker room is waiting for. Players notice when veterans struggle and still get every rep. They also notice when performance actually determines playing time. That's how a team stays sharp through adversity, competition. Meanwhile, the injury list isn't doing the Steelers any favors. Isaac Sumalo dealing with a pec, Zach Frazier's calf still acting up, Pat Freiermuth nursing a quad bruise. Those are real problems when your offense already relies on heavy personnel and tight formations. If Sumalo can't go, that changes the structure of the jumbo packages that have been part of Pittsburgh's identity the past few weeks. Maybe you see Andrew Pete finally get a helmet and step into that left guard spot, or Spencer Anderson shifts into an eligible tight end role again. Either way, it's another test of depth, and the Steelers can't afford more inconsistency up front. On the defensive line, Daniel Ackles' ACL tear opened a door for rookie Yaya Black. He's raw, powerful, and still figuring out how to use his hands, but this is his chance to show whether he can anchor at nose tackle when called upon. Every injury on this roster seems to come with an opportunity, and this week's matchup against the Colts is no exception. With Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss pounding the rock, Pittsburgh's ability to hold up in the trenches will tell us more about this defense's true character than any midweek trade ever could. Still, there's a sense of cautious optimism. The front office isn't sitting on its hands. Omar Khan has made moves. They've brought in talent, added depth, and tried to plug glaring weaknesses. But until the coaching staff adapts, until they stop treating details as an excuse for stagnation, the Steelers will keep walking the same tightrope between brilliance and collapse. So here's the real question that Pittsburgh fans have to wrestle with now. Do you still believe this coaching staff can turn it around? Can Mike Tomlin and Teryl Austin find the adjustments that unlock this defense again? Or are we watching the slow unraveling of a once dominant unit that refuses to evolve? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this isn't just about one trade or one signing anymore. It's about the future of the Steelers' identity. And if you made it all the way through, hit that like button, subscribe for more exclusive updates, and check out the videos on screen for deeper breakdowns on Pittsburgh's next moves. Here we go, Steelers Nation, your voice starts now. And that voice matters more than ever right now, because what we're seeing isn't just a stretch of sloppy football, it's a crossroads moment for a franchise that's built its reputation on toughness, discipline, and defensive pride. The fans can feel it. The locker room can feel it. You can sense that this team is one or two turning points away from either stabilizing for a playoff push or spiraling into another season of what-ifs. Kyle Duggar and Derek Forrest might not be headline-grabbing stars, but these are the kinds of acquisitions that reveal what the front office truly values: versatility, effort, and physicality. Duggar brings the bite back to the box. Forrest brings range and youth to the back end. If both find their rhythm by mid-season, this defense could quietly start to look like itself again. Not the flashy, highlight-heavy unit of old, but a group that grinds you down over 4 quarters. That's what Pittsburgh football is supposed to be. The pressure is now squarely on the coaches to let that happen. If Teryl Austin can adjust his play calling, if Mike Tomlin can stop leaning on do it better and start demanding smarter, then these moves could be remembered as the pivot point of the 2025 campaign, the moment when the Steelers decided to fight back, not fold. Because the potential is there. The front seven is still one of the most explosive in football. The secondary just got tougher, faster, and deeper. Now it's about alignment, mentally, strategically, and emotionally. Steelers Nation has been patient, maybe too patient, but this fan base also knows resilience when it sees it. So now, as the team preps for the